Yo guys, VisionSGen here, and welcome to the Nether in Minecraft Survival, episode 2 of my new series for the survival world. One of the most difficult and extreme environments to survive in Minecraft Survival is the Nether, especially on hard mode, but it offers so many opportunities from rare loot, ancient debris, netherite smithing templates, and more. In this video, I'll provide a brief overview of everything you need to know about the Nether, tips to be aware of and to incorporate into your world, and also some gameplay of myself and my friend exploring the Nether for the first time in over 10 years on our new survival world, which was terrifying to say the least, and I was not fully aware of how difficult this place is to survive on hard difficulty. So if you're not prepared, make sure you watch this video. So on that note, let's get right into it. Now, as I mentioned, this is episode 2 of my Minecraft survival mini-series, and as for the Nether itself, it consists of 5 different biomes, beginning with the Nether Waste or Wasteland, which is the general theme of the Nether and most common throughout, where it contains netherrack everywhere. You're able to find things like glowstone, quartz, large lakes of lava, where you'll also encounter hostile mobs such as ghast, piglins, and magma cubes. Now, as for the second biome, known as the Soul Sand Valley, although you can find soul sand and soul soil in various areas of the Nether anyways, it is found in abundance within this biome, and because of all of the soul blocks, you will run much slower than normal unless you have the soul speed enchantment on your boots, which is actually really useful to avoid dying, as you will encounter many skeletons and ghasts, which can lead to you dying if caught out in an isolated area with no cover. Also, projectile protection and blast protection are generally really effective in this area, so maybe if you're planning to explore the Nether, I would consider trying to use these, as they definitely would help you out at times, because you never know when you're going to see a ghast or you're going to get an abundance of skeletons just shooting at you and you're stuck in the middle of nowhere. So just consider that. Now, as for the third biome, known as the Basalt Deltas, one of the hardest areas to explore in the Nether, these areas are very grey and dull, providing an image of ash left over throughout, almost as if there's been volcanic activity, which can be quite depressing to explore if I'm being honest. Both basalt and blackstone are found everywhere in this biome, and this is the only Nether biome where Bastion Remnants do not appear, which I'll go over in a minute. I think it's just due to the similarities in appearance, which would be extremely confusing and definitely worth understanding before you are going to look to explore the Nether itself and look for a Bastion, as I myself was not actually aware that you couldn't find them in this biome, and I had found myself trying to look and explore in this biome several times and then realized when I looked it up, you cannot find them in these biomes. So it's definitely worth noting that. And also here you will find magma cubes, which are a pain in the arse to deal with, as well as the ghast themselves again, and together you will constantly be fighting off multiple enemies from both ground and in the air. This biome also contains a lot of lava, so make sure you're using fire protection on any or all of your armor, or make sure you have a fire protection potion, as it can be extremely useful, as well as being just extremely cautious in general of the lava pools, because you can catch yourself out if you're not paying attention. So just a general tip for when you're exploring this biome. Now, as for the fourth biome, this is known as the Crimson Forest, which contains warped and crimson fungus. The fungus structures have weeping vines and shroomlights, which are actually really aesthetic and pleasant to be in a weird way to explore, but I do love the red and blue color themes in this game and throughout the biome, and you will traverse varying shades of trees and levels, as well as hostiles including piglins and hoglins. So just as a tip, make sure you have gold on you, either armor or prepared to drop, in order to barter with these mobs, as you'll have a much easier time, as this has to be one of the most aggressive biomes in the game, definitely one of the harder places to survive, and if you're not prepared to either fight all of these mobs or have the right resources to trade, you're going to have a miserable time. That I can vouch for, and throughout my own experience, this is a terrifying place to go to, especially as I mentioned, if you haven't explored the Nether in over 10 years and you weren't quite aware of what this biome has to present. Now, as for the fifth and final biome in the Nether, this is known as the Warped Forest, where only Striders and Endermen appear. It is a blue and fungus covered biome, which also contains warped nylium, warped roots, nether sprouts, and also warped warp blocks. Now, that is a tongue twister just to say, but anyways, there are plenty of options around in this area if you're trying to explore and gain multiple different types of resources, or you just want to explore and gain ender pearls. There are an abundance, as you can see in these clips, of endermen in this area. For myself, I was trying to sort of explore this area and just generally get a feel of what the Nether was like 10 years later, and I was trying to basically look into the eyes of all the endermen and see how many me and my friend could fight, and I wasn't telling my friend why there were so many endermen coming after us, because he didn't think I was looking at them, whereas I was actually just trying to attract as many as we could, so with one, we could farm more ender pearls, and also I just wanted to experience how many you could sort of engage with, as I thought it would be quite funny, but in fact it became very dangerous, and as I mentioned, on hard difficulty, this is really tempting fate, so I would not recommend, but it's a really good and fun experience if you're you're prepared to sort of fight your way through all of these biomes. But anyways, guys, that's a quick overview of all of the biomes in the Nether and everything you need to know based on my own experience, and also what resources you want to have, and just tips and tricks generally along the way that I have learned that I would recommend. As a whole, I wouldn't necessarily recommend using an elytra to travel the Nether. It is quite terrifying because you can fly into lava, you can hit a wall too hard, or you can just generally just miss out where you're going and go too far away from your base. So make sure, just as another tip, you note down where your portals are, otherwise you are going to lose yourself very easily in the Nether. Now, moving on from the biomes itself, you can also find ancient debris in the Nether. If you weren't aware, ancient debris can be used to farm netherite armor, the most valuable and overpowered armor in the game. I will be making a separate guide on the channel coming up soon, which will explain how to gain it and exactly where you will want to go, and tips and tricks I've learned along the way, such as strip mining in straight lines down at Y level 12 or 13, which is one of the fastest and easiest methods I found, and also arguably the safest method. But as well as this, you can explore the bastions and strongholds in the Nether, arguably one of the main reasons that you do go to the Nether in the first place, where you can also find netherite templates, which again I will go over in more detail in a separate video. But in these places, you have to be prepared in order to explore these areas, as I myself went in with full netherite. I was not paying attention just for a brief moment. I was maybe looking at my phone or something, and a wither skeleton came around the corner. He hit me, I ended up in lava, and next thing you know, I died. Luckily, I had netherite, so all my loot was floating on the floor for when I got back. But in this video, I have shared gameplay of when exactly it happened and how quickly I found my way back. I was quite impressed with how I did it, because I actually made a fatal error by sleeping at a villager's bed the night before, which was around 5,000 blocks away. So when I actually died and respawned, I almost lost full, and I was almost tempting just giving up because I was so far away and had all of my loot left in the Nether in a stronghold so far away. But somehow I made myself just get back to the Nether, and make sure I got back to that same stronghold, because I did not want to lose all my loot. And if this was going to be the last time I played this world for a while, because I almost, like I said, gave up, which I did not, which I'm really proud of myself for not doing, and you guys should too, in case this does happen to you guys. But this is, in this clip, you will see exactly where I found all of my loot. And also, just as another tip, make sure you have a spare set of loot, because this is exactly when you need it, because you'll never know when you're going to die in this game. That's the whole point of why you need a second set of loot, because you need to be prepared for the unexpected, such as dying. And when you get to the netherite stage, it becomes a lot easier to gain your second set of loot, either from end cities or just exploring places like the Nether and so on. And as well as this, you can also find lots of diamonds in strongholds, as well as diamond horse armor and just all other rare items that you don't necessarily gain from the overworld. So just bear that in mind. But as you can also see in this video, this is exactly where I find a lot of my ancient debris. I just go down to Y level 13 or 12, strip mine, and eventually you will find some. And don't make the mistake I did by just mining ancient debris without mining all around it, because you can either miss some because they can be spread around at different Y levels or just different areas in general. And also you can have hidden lava pools behind it or above it, which can of course just then take your ancient debris, which is demoralizing, especially if you've spent a lot of time looking for some. But also, just another tip, make sure you're utilizing the enchanted pickaxes, the unbreaking and efficiency enchantments, because that will help you find a lot more ancient debris. Myself and my friend Connor were actually exploring the Nether to get ancient debris. We actually tested it. I actually found around 15 to 20 within almost 5, maybe 10 minutes, just by using my enchanted insane pickaxe, which has efficiency 4 and unbreaking 3, and I ended up finding a lot more than him. I also have a fortune as well, but he had a regular diamond pickaxe with, I think, just in breaking, and he ended up finding around half of what I actually found in the same time frame. And let's be honest, that is crucial, because you don't want to be in this place any longer than necessary, because the Nether is quite eerie. It's terrifying in terms of all of the mobs you can find, and for the main reason you're in here, it's either for netherite or for the netherite smithing template, or it's just for the fact that you're trying to get wither skeletons through the actual strongholds themselves. But as for the bastions, just like with the ancient debris, I will be making a separate video on the channel going over more detail on the bastions themselves. But just so you guys are aware, there are 4 different types of remnants in the Nether. There is the bastion bridges, there is the hoglin stables, there is the housing units, and the treasure rooms. Now in the bastions, you can find the smithing template that allows you to craft netherite armor, and that is the main reason you want to find a bastion, which is part of the newest update that came out quite some time ago now. But it was something new to me that I was not quite aware of. So that is something that you need to be aware of in terms of which bastion you'll want to find, and also what to expect in each one. And of course, individual gameplay from the first time of me exploring them in over 10 years, which is also really fun and entertaining to watch. Now, as for all of the mobs and what to expect in the Nether, there are quite a few to go over and some detail that I want to share. So I will be making a separate video as well on all of the mobs and where to find them and what to expect in terms of resources and how dangerous some of them are in a bit of a ranking list. So starting off with the Blaze, which can can be found only in the Nether fortress. You'll also find ghast floating around in pretty much all of the biomes in the Nether. You'll also encounter piglins, who are a neutral mob and become hostile if they are attacked, so make sure you avoid attacking piglins at all costs. You'll also encounter hoglins that are a breedable mob and a source of food in the Nether that are also found in the Crimson biome. You'll also find magma cubes, which are similar to slimes, but they are fireproof and often found near the fortresses or in the treasure room in a bastion. You'll also find skeletons throughout in biomes such as the Soul Valley and wither skeletons, which are found in the Nether fortresses and are really dangerous, as I mentioned earlier in the video. And as well as this, you can find zombified piglins, who are a hostile mob and can spawn in the Nether throughout. And then as well as this, you can also find striders, which are a new mob to me. They weren't around back in the day and I wasn't even aware of them until I came back to this game, but they are really cool. They are a mount for players in the Nether, which is something I was not aware of, and also they walk on lava, so that's really cool. And they can also be brought back to the overworld, as they are a passive mob in the Nether. And as well as this, you can also expect to find endermen in the Soul Valley and chickens as the only two features that appear in both the overworld and in the Nether. But anyways guys, that's a summary of all of the 5 biomes, including all of the mobs you can expect to find, any tips and tricks that I've learned along the way that I wanted to share with you guys for the first time me exploring this in over 10 years. And in addition to this, the ancient debris guide that will come to the channel, as well as me exploring the Nether fortresses and the Bastion Remnants in more detail to help you guys with learning this game. Now, if you guys have any feedback or if you have any cool tips and tricks that you want to share, which can be really useful for newer players or returning players like myself who haven't played in a long time and weren't aware of all of the latest updates, so be sure to let us know down below. And also share any feedback please, as it really helps me out in learning what to do and how to better present my videos, as I'm super keen to continue making episodes for this series as something I've always wanted to do and complete Minecraft survival. So this is the first time I'm ever going to do it, and I'm going to make sure that I get it done this time. But also along the way, I want to share everything there is to do in Minecraft and any tips and tricks that I've learned along the way, as well as cool entertaining moments such as exploring things for the first time or doing it for the first time in over 10 years. Anyways guys, there you have it. I'm Vision SGN, and I'll see you in the next one.